Dandelion Song, and I just got a message from a viewer, and thank you so much for the tips, and I wanted to show you what they showed me. We went on, I screenshot a few things on Twitter about this explosion, and I guess it was on these are dated, well actually this one might have been 4 minutes ago. Let me go over to Twitter right now, hold on a second. Okay, so this is a screenshot. It says photos right here. So this is a screenshot of what it was, but it doesn't show the date. But down here, it sounded like it was the 27th that this happened. So, but mostly I just wanted to point this out these times. And also, I am trying to work on this idea. I wanted to show you the skull that's here, because there's a skull in Washington, D.C. Now this one is hard to see because the numbers pop up and cover it as soon as we come in here. Basically, okay, let me just come out just a little bit. And I have this in my Paint Shop Pro, and I just got really busy with the Pope stuff and I didn't finish it. But here is central London, and here is, this would be the jaw, this would be where the jawbone connects on the skull right here, and this would be the brow and the cheekbone. And it has basically, you know, it's weird because you have to notice what your human tendencies are. So my human tendencies would be to scroll in here and find out the place where these roads are that make it look like a real skull, that kind of like what I'm looking for. But if you look for the skull that's here rather than the one you're looking for, you see a Chimera skull. A Chimera skull is a hybrid, and we see these guys in the Mayan ancient Anunnaki art, and yeah, well they don't call them Anunnaki in the Mayan, but they're Mayan ancient astronaut type of artwork, and also just in Chimera statues. So having to do with that explosion, I don't know what it is. Since the timing was since the hours on the clock were a little suspicious, I think it might have been a sacrifice, but it's hard to tell. You know, you can't really tell that just from where it lands on the clock. But I have this in my Paint Shop Pro. I am trying to work on this, but it's kind of good that maybe I waited to work on it, because I would have not given enough validity to the Chimera shape of the mouth. And let's just come down here a little bit. Now in the Chimera shape, so what it shows is that in the Mayan astronaut, let me see if I can pull up a picture for you. Okay, and I've showed this picture to you before. I had to scroll way down. I just put Mayan ancient astronaut into Google Images. There's a lot to see here. But this is what I want to show you, the Chimera mouth, because when I was first looking at this, I thought, well, maybe what they did is they had a special, you know, they were astronauts, but they had a special mask on to try and look like one of the animals down here so they wouldn't scare the crap out of the natives. Or I'm not sure, I was kind of like reaching for something like that. But here you can see that this is a breathing apparatus. He has a breathing tube around him, and I first used this picture. He even has ears. These aren't ears that come through the tube, but they're probably his hearing apparatuses for inside his helmet. I first used this when I was decoding Mad Max, and I don't think I have a long video on that. Maybe I do. I first did that when I wasn't making videos, and then I think I went back and did it after the Antioch hatchet thing. Yeah, that was the thing. I did that, so there might be a video about that. So that's a Chimera. If he really has this face, this is a Chimera. So I'm going to open up another one. And this picture's from hiddenrecords.com. I wish that guy made videos, because I learned so much better from videos. I don't know about you. I like to see the pictures, and even if I don't see the pictures, just hearing the voice talk is great. So I want to come back and show you some more of those, but let me search this. So this often shows chimeras with having a gazelle head and looks like a lion head, and looks like the gazelle head comes out of its back. There are pictures, though, if we go down here far enough, there's a Chimera, I think, at Notre Dame. Here's a Anunnaki Chimera, or an ancient Babylono-Sumerian Chimera. To me, it's amazing how uniform these pictures are. You know, they want to say this is a mythical beast, but these are so uniform. There's another one, perfectly uniform. He's killing a Chimera now. I guess in the old days, and this could have been in the sixth dimension, maybe these are six-dimensional beings, maybe they're invisible to us now. I haven't seen any of these with any kind of sight that I have, thank goodness. But in New Age circles, they say that these Chimera are still, you know, behind the dark government here. And I don't know if that means that they're physical or not. I'm not sure, you know. I guess we'll figure this all out when this all comes to light. Let me show you. This isn't what I meant to show you. I wanted to show you, I think it's Notre Dame one. Let me look at that one. Yeah, here we go. The Chimeras of Notre Dame. Look at these guys. Look at this. Look at the skull shape. And there's even a horn on the head. Let's see if there's a horn on this guy's head. There's a tiny horn on his head. There's a little horn a little bit like this too in Washington, D.C. I had thought of it as, you know, this is like your chakra this is like your crown chakra. So I had thought of it as that they were picturing the crown chakra, but also because your crown chakra opening is where your divine information comes in. So if they are able to control that, then they can control your divine information. And then you're going to think you think you have a divine, you know, guidance, and it might not be divine. This is why I worry about wearing hats that have an insignia over your third eye. I don't think you should do that. And I don't know what's in the baseball caps, but I think there's metal in the top of them. I think those are meant to interfere with your divine intuition. And part of the confirmation of the metal in those hats, or just the obstruction, or maybe it's the number in the hat, I'm not sure what it is, but buildings that have metal in the roof also interfere with your divine connection. And this is why it's better, if at all possible, to not have your baby in the hospital because of all of the metal. But your baby will, you know, basically it interferes with them pulling all their energy into their body. They'll pull it all in, and you can just pray for them too. That can overpower anything. If you've had a baby, you may have wondered why you got the trembles, and I call those cheese shakes. And I'm pretty sure this is a universal experience, but it happened to me both times. Your baby partially incarnates. It partially incarnates at conception. Then it brings more and more down, more and more of itself down. And then at the moment of birth, it brings a lot of its energy down. And what happens is that energy comes through your energy field. So this is why your baby should be held by you, not in the nursery. Your baby needs to be held by you because you are the tube. You're the energy tube with which it grabs all of its energy from the higher dimensions to bring it down into the body. And if you keep your baby with you, you will probably tremble. And what that is that's the baby's energy coming right through all your meridians. Even though you're not maybe physically attached to the baby anymore, it's because you're holding the baby and you are anchored in the physical, and the baby's using you to anchor into the physical. That's okay, got off on an aside about this crown chakra here. It's much more difficult to do all that in a hospital, but it can be done. I brought 2 very wise babies in through hospitals, so it can be done. If you want to cross over and it's time for you to leave, it's better not to do that in a hospital, because what you want to do is try to bring as much of your memory with you as you can. And the more fractal and shareable and more loving your heart is, the more ability you will have to bring your information back through. But it's difficult if you are surrounded by an electric mess of wires and magnetic fields. All right, so I was looking for a horn. I guess we found a little horn here. There's also a, this is a pineal gland chakra right here. See this one? Goes out here. I can actually see these on people. There's one in the back, too. And this is probably the whole halo aura type of thing of it. And there's even, this is, okay, so this is what I would call the unicorn. There's a few chakras of the pineal gland, and this would be what I would call the unicorn one, because it comes out here. This is where they would try to attach you in Washington, D.C. There's a little military installment on this skull right there. And this is, like in the Matrix, this is where they would attach you, because this is the back of your pineal gland. And this is how they actually put pictures into your knowing. You know, if there's an etheric attachment on you, or if you have accepted some kind of etheric technology without knowing it, I feel like that's foreshadowed in some of these pictures that I've seen having to do with the skull. If I zoomed in here, there might be something like that here. Okay, back to chimeras.